Hello YouTubers and preppers, I'm Evita Cooks and Preps, and I'm coming to you with another must-have pantry essential. Actually, today's recipe is more of a medicine cabinet prep. However, it can be used as a condiment as well. So we're getting a 2-for-1 in today's recipe. And we're talking about the famous Fire Cider, which is this one that we have right here. I am aware that you can find countless videos with this recipe on YouTube. However, since it's time to make a new batch, as you can see, we've been going through this quite a bit. I will share with you my version of the recipe. This recipe I tailored to my family's needs and uses for this powerful drink or tonic. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the first ingredient that I'm incorporating in the Fire Cider, which is one of the original ingredients on the recipe. And we're talking about a horseradish root. We not only take this during the times where it's flu season or allergy season, but we also take it as a preventative, and we have been taking it for years, especially during those years between 2019 and 2022, when there seemed to be a lot of concerns about some of the things that were going around in the environment. This was one of the preventative measures that we took to keep us a little bit healthier, even when we did get sick, actually. And I definitely don't like to run out of it. So today we're going to be making another batch just to keep it going. Now we're going to be processing horseradish, but before, I want to talk a little bit about the health benefits of horseradish and why we're adding it in this recipe. Horseradish is a condiment, therefore considered a food product and the main ingredient in our favorite cocktail sauce. The benefits of consuming horseradish are many. For starters, it aids with our digestion, especially if you tend to eat heavy fatty foods. This is a fantastic root that will improve your digestion. Due to its pungent and almost spicy taste, I don't know if you've ever tried horseradish, but for the most part it's a little bit spicy. It's the perfect addition to this tonic because it's very effective in clearing sinus infections, particularly for the headaches, congestions, and inflammation. And in this recipe, I use it as an inflammation reducer and as an immuno enhancer. The horseradish will keep your body temperature at its optimum temperature, and it's going to promote good circulation. Therefore, will remain very active, especially during the winter months when our bodies tend to slow down a little and are more prone to colds and flus. So this is one of the most important ingredients for this Fire Cider for those reasons, and I invite you to do a little bit more research so that you can discover all the health benefits that horseradish has to offer. I brought this out because I also wanted to show you very quickly one of the ways that you can preserve horseradish for an extended period of time, especially since horseradish has gone up in price tremendously. One of the things I wanted to show you is that you can preserve horseradish for a very long time, and we are in the month of June. At the time I'm recording this video, and this one that I'm going to show you, we packed it up in January of 2023. So I want to show you very quickly what I did. In fact, it's the same process that I use to preserve ginger. And if you haven't seen my video how to preserve ginger for many months, check it out. I'll leave the link below the video or on the top right here so that you can check it out. And as you can see, I have mine wrapped in a towel. The towel is wet. And what I do is I like to check the towel often just to make sure that it's nice and moist, because the trick to extend the life of your horseradish root is to keep it moist. And very interestingly, check it out, it has grown roots. And what I suggest you do, if you do fork over the $15.99 a pound to buy your horseradish root, stick a little piece of it in the water and it's going to root fairly quickly. And if you have the space in your backyard or in your garden, go ahead and plant it, and do a little bit of research on the best way to plant your horseradish. I have several plants in my garden, and this is going to be my first harvest, especially if the prices of the horseradish keep going up. I'm actually shocked and surprised that it looks this good, to be honest with you, because usually after 3 or 4 months it starts to deteriorate, but this one was very fresh at the time and it looks great. So I'm going to set it right back aside. I'm going to be using this one first, And then later on, I'm going to be preparing the rest of my horseradish this way so that I can preserve it for an extended period of time. Now I'm going to get started with the process before we talk a little bit more about the rest of the ingredients that we'll be using. I'm making a big batch of the fire cider. You can adjust the recipe to make as much or as little as you want. And since it's 6 of us, I like to make a big batch so that it lasts us a little longer. And as I prep the ingredients, I'm going to be adding them to the jar. So I'm going to be setting this aside and continue to prep the rest of the ingredients and talk a little bit about each of those ingredients so that you have a better understanding as to why each of them is important to make the fire cider. The next ingredient is garlic, and I would venture to say that it is the most popular condiment in the world. However, garlic is considered the ultimate medicine. In fact, it has been categorized as the most powerful over-the-counter penicillin. That's a very interesting fact, and you can definitely find information online about the benefits and uses for garlic, amongst one of them in this particular drink. The garlic, I'm going to process it exactly the same way I did the horseradish. Half I'm going to mince and the other half I'm going to grate, and that's just so that I can have a better balance of the garlic flavor. Garlic is a natural antiseptic. It helps to fight bacterial and viral infections, which is one of the reasons why we add it in this recipe. Also for its ability to warm the body. In other words, our circulatory system. The warmer our bodies, the better our blood circulation, ultimately aiding and improving the function of our main organ, the heart. And since it's considered a potent and natural antibiotic, it helps to fight infections. I'm also adding onion. Any kind of strong onion will do just fine. Onions are vegetables and they're complementary to its cousin, the garlic. The onion has been used for decades to help fight infections, mainly ear and throat infections, in the form of cough syrups. In this recipe, the onion is used as a expectorant and also a decongestant to help break down the cough and also to help boost the immune system. Same process with the onion. The smaller we cut it, the better, because it'll start releasing its medicine or its flavor a lot faster. The original recipe for fire cider includes ginger. Today I'm using the ginger that I harvested from my garden. Ginger is a rhizome that grows very well in warm climates such as Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, and it's widely used in Asia and India as a culinary and medicinal ingredient. It does have a lot of medicinal properties. I encourage you to look up all these ingredients. Go online and do that. Since I'm using my organic homegrown ginger, I'm not going to peel it because I do not use any pesticides in my garden. But if you don't find the organic ginger, make sure you peel it and rinse it and use just the ginger itself without the peel. Ginger promotes brain health, controls nausea, helps to fight infections, and stop bacteria growth, relieves sore throat and cough, usually related to symptoms of the cold and flu, which is one of the reasons why it's added in this recipe. It also helps to reduce your cholesterol, reduces pain and inflammation of the body, lowers the risk of cancer, relieves menstrual cramps for the ladies. Also helps to balance your hormones in case you're going through menopause like some of us are. I'm chopping and dicing most of the ginger, and then I'm saving a piece that I'm going to be grating. So just like everything else, I've been just rough chopping some of it and grating part of it because I want to get the full benefit of the ginger. When I was younger, I suffered with a lot of migraines and headaches and body aches, and my mother always gave us ginger tea. I wasn't really sure what it was supposed to do, but I did grow up drinking ginger tea all the time. Now that I'm a little older and I've researched this information, I can tell you that it's very important to add ginger to your diet. Ginger helps to reduce migraine headaches, it reduces anxiety, it helps with your overall digestion. It has been said that it can improve fertility. In case you have plans on getting pregnant, you may want to consider incorporating ginger to your diet. From the garden, I was lucky to harvest a small amount of turmeric, but enough for this recipe, and I kept it in the freezer. Like its counterpart and relative, the ginger, the turmeric has been linked to a number of health benefits, such as an effective ingredient to help fight inflammations over most over-the-counter remedies such as aspirin and ibuprofen. Besides being a great anti-inflammatory, turmeric also prevents against heart disease, aiding to regulate blood pressure. It helps to prevent and treat certain types of cancer. It can also help to ease the symptoms of osteoarthritis. It may help to prevent and treat diabetes. Also delay and reverse the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, which is a big one. If you have a loved one suffering with Alzheimer's, you may want to look into the health benefits of turmeric. Turmeric is also considered a very potent and effective antidepressant. It may help to reduce and treat rheumatoid arthritis, improves your skin health. It's very rich in antioxidant, and turmeric works as an anti-aging supplement for us ladies that are always looking for the secret to eternal youth. And it's also believed to be linked to the prevention of eye degeneration. So that's some of the benefits to turmeric. I'm also going to link in the description box below the video the link that I use with the information so that you can read the article and also do a little bit of research of your own. A very important fact about turmeric is that all these health benefits are achieved through the correct absorption of turmeric, and in order for turmeric to be absorbed properly, it requires activation. And what that simply means is that it needs to be mixed or blended with something hot or spicy, such as black pepper, cayenne pepper. I prefer using fresh chilies, and this week I was lucky to get some chilies from the garden. Now the chilies are to taste, and depending on how many chilies you add, it's also going to depend just how hot the fire cider becomes. So that's very important. I like to add a generous amount of chilies. Everybody in my family actually enjoys the taste of chilies, so I'm not too concerned or worried about that. However, you may want to start with one at a time. What I will do for the chilies is I'm going to start with 4 big ones, and then as the fire cider matures, I'll decide whether or not I want to add more. So I'm going to start with 4, and again, just like I've done throughout the whole process, I'm going to be slicing some of it, and then the rest I'm just going to add it whole into the mixture. Now these are Thai chilies and they're pretty hot. I actually enjoy anytime I get a little piece of a chili. The next few ingredients that I'll be adding to the fire cider are the ingredients that I added to this recipe. You can just as easily stop right here and add the last ingredient that I'm going to be adding to this recipe and basically be done. We're going to allow the fire cider to rest from anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks covered in a dark place if possible, away from direct sunlight. If you have a dark jar, that will be ideal for this process as well. My husband actually enjoys picking the whole chili and just popping it in his mouth. He's a very brave one. I like spicy, but these chilies are pretty spicy, so I wouldn't even take a chance with that. Chilies are excellent anti-inflammatories and antioxidants that help to fight free radicals, which in turn helps to reduce the risk of chronic diseases, which is the reason why we're using both the turmeric as well as the chili to activate the turmeric. Are you enjoying the content so far? Consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up and comment for the YouTube algorithm, and activate the notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Check it out, this is what it looks like so far with all the freshly chopped and grated ingredients. The remaining ingredients are optional and they are my personal touch. After making the traditional fire cider for several years, I pondered and wondered if it would be possible to improve an already effective home remedy. So I went in a search for methods of improvement and came up with a list of different ingredients that I thought we could add to this recipe. Of course, taking into consideration that this is a very ancient remedy, and today we have so many ingredients at our disposal, and I'm totally convinced that they will improve the formula for the original or traditional fire cider. And I'll be starting with the Ceylon cinnamon, and I have cinnamon sticks right here. I like to use that particular cinnamon. I will try to remember to link in the description box below the video all the different ingredients that I'm using, and hopefully I can get you a link of where you can get them. For this amount of fire cider, I'm going to be using 3 whole cinnamon sticks, and I'm just going to crack them into the jar. I feel that with the addition of all these spices, it will take this incredible fire cider to the next level. Cinnamon is antimicrobial, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and it helps to fight infections. It helps to heal and repair the tissue, helps fight against circulatory diseases, cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, triglycerides, reduces your LDL cholesterol and stabilizes your HDL, reduces your high blood pressure. And finally, I add cinnamon to this recipe because it helps to fight fungal infections, bacteria. It assists in clearing your respiratory tract, and this is important because generally our respiratory system is compromised when we get a cold or flu. Another immune booster spice is the star anise. Just like the cinnamon, stimulates our immune and digestive system. It's a natural relaxant, clears your respiratory tract, and is fantastic for circulation, and it aids with sleep, which is the reason why I added in this recipe. Of course, it's also antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antifungal, and for the most part, it contains just about every anti that you can think of. And you will find the same characteristics with the majority of the ingredients in this recipe. The same applies to the next ingredient, which is the anise seeds. Besides making a delicious tea or your favorite anise cookies, anise is very effective to combat gas and bloating, as well as all the medicinal properties listed before. In addition to an already perfect blend of spices, I will be adding whole cloves to my fire cider. This is a very pungent spice and is loaded with everything we enumerated before. However, this spice adds another level of comfort that in my opinion is essential, especially when we consider this tonic to treat colds and flus. Cloves, besides being a great anti-inflammatory, it's also a natural germicide due to its antimicrobial properties similar to garlic, therefore considered a natural antibiotic. And I concluded that it will be the perfect addition to the fire cider, especially because cloves are considered a natural analgesic. This is important because with the addition of the cloves, we create an all-in-one home remedy that builds our immune system to prevent illness, aids with the cold and flu symptoms, and restores our bodies to their overall health. Finally, for an added vitamin C, I'm adding lemon and orange peels. This could be in the form of powder or whole, whatever you have available. I dehydrate my own peels and I keep it both in the powder form and whole for different uses. And I'm going to be using a combination of the peels as well as the powder. Smells so good in here. My goodness, I wish you guys could smell it. It's incredible. Okay, now to finish the fire cider, we just have to add one more ingredient and that will be all. But as you can see, with everything that I added into the jar, we have about half of the jar full with all the vegetables and the spices. And like I said, I'm making quite a bit of fire cider this time around, but you can definitely make a smaller batch if you want to just give it a try and see if you like it. But I promise you that even if you just make the basic recipe without the additions that I enumerated, you're going to see some real good results when you drink this daily as a preventative, or if you're battling a cold or flu. My goal is to encourage you to explore different alternatives available to you that can minimize or reduce our dependency on pharmaceuticals. I hope that I am successful, at least in interesting you enough to research all the ingredients and their health benefits, and most importantly, how they can improve and impact your overall health. I'm going to be adding some apple cider vinegar, and this is raw apple cider vinegar with the mother. I make my own vinegars, but for this recipe, make sure you use a good quality vinegar with the mother. That's very important. And we need enough vinegar to cover everything that we have in the jar. So I'm going to fill it pretty much all the way to the top. Check this out. Smells incredible, but unfortunately we can't drink it just yet because we have to allow the fire cider to cure, and we're going to cure the fire cider covered in a dark, cool place away from direct sunlight. And for the first week, I always come back at least once a day and stir the mixture. And what's going to happen is in the first few days, it's going to begin to ferment just like everything else. Even though we have vinegar in the jar, you will see a little bit of bubbles. It really just depends on the environment of your home and how warm your house or your kitchen is. You want to definitely cover it with a plastic cover, or if you don't have a glass jar with a plastic cover, you could use a piece of cloth with a rubber band to secure it to keep dust and obviously flies away. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label it with the date. Now, this has to stay, like I said, in a dark, cool place away from direct sunlight for a minimum of 4 weeks. I like to keep mine 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer. And once the fire cider is ready, we'll come back and strain it, and basically is ready to start drinking it. I personally don't strain mine, to be honest with you. I don't mind getting some bits and pieces of the onions and the garlic or the ginger and the turmeric that we use, especially the horseradish, because it actually is packed with flavor. So at this point, it will be entirely up to you what you decide to do. But just keep in mind that after a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, it may start to get a little gunky and the onions and all the vegetables start to break down. So it may look a little bit weird. That doesn't mean that the fire cider is bad. It just basically means that the vinegar has eaten through all those vegetables pretty much. Now, if you feel more comfortable, after 6 weeks, you can strain it and bottle it like I do right here and keep it in the refrigerator and drink it anytime you want. At the end of 6 weeks, it will look similar to this one that I have right here, except that this one is a little bit older, and as it ages, it intensifies a little bit more in flavor, especially, I don't know if you can see it there, since I added, after I strained it, I added fresh chilies, also some ginger and fresh turmeric to the bottle, just to add a little bit more benefits and flavor to the fire cider. That's totally optional. You will notice that the fire cider is going to change slightly in color as the time goes by. Keep in mind that we're using vinegar, and again, it's very important that you monitor it. So let's go ahead and give this one a try. I am due for my daily dose, and I really can't wait. This one's nice and chilled, and it is a little bit spicy. So the uses and recommendations when you're taking it as a preventative, the recommended amount, and this is entirely up to you. If you've never tried Fire Cider and you want to just give it a try, start with a small amount and then you can decide whether or not you want to take more. But the recommended dose as a preventative is 1 to 3 tablespoons daily. And if you're taking it to treat the symptoms of a cold or flu, you can mix 2 tablespoons of the Fire Cider with 1 tablespoon of raw honey, or you can use Manuka honey if you have it available, and take it every 2 to 4 hours until you start to see some results. As always, let me remind you that you should consult your doctor before taking it or giving it to your family. Remember that I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV. And most importantly, do your own research. If you're taking any sorts of medication, it's important that you know how these ingredients and everything that we added to the Fire Cider may interact with your medications. That's important. Start with a small dose until you feel comfortable taking it daily. You can increase your dose as you go if you want to. I find that this amount daily as a preventative is the perfect dose, and sometimes I even take 2 doses a day. The truth is that you can use this Fire Cider not just as a medicine, but you could use it for cooking, to marinate chicken, pork, just about any meat you want, and it makes a fantastic dressing. You simply replace the Fire Cider for the vinegar that you would normally use on your dressing. What I like to do is take a little bit of the Fire Cider, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, even avocado oil, which is actually very good for you, some fresh seasonings, and some honey if you like. You can even add a little bit of Dijon mustard and make a fantastic dressing. I hope you give this recipe a try, and if you do, don't forget to come back, leave us a comment below the video. For the YouTube algorithms, remember that we depend on those thumbs ups and those comments so that YouTube can recommend our channel to more people. Let's try it. Wow. I can't even begin to explain how tasty and delicious this Fire Cider is. Immediately after you drink it, you start to feel a little bit of warmth in your body, in the back of your ears, your throat. Oh my goodness. And that just means that it's working immediately. Imagine what it's doing to your body as it goes through your bloodstream, circulatory system. Imagine what it's doing to your immune system. So I do hope that you try this recipe at home. And if you try this recipe at home, come back, leave us a comment below the video. And that's the easiest way to support the channel. And until next time, I'm Evita, Cooks and Preps. Bon appetit and good health. You really have to try it.